MASH was more than just a television show, it was a cultural phenomenon that captured the hearts of millions. With its unique blend of comedy and drama, the series not only entertained but also offered a glimpse into the lives of doctors and nurses during the Korean War. But behind the laughter and camaraderie on screen, the real lives of the 37 cast members tell a much more somber tale. Many of these beloved stars faced tragic, untimely deaths that left fans heartbroken. From sudden accidents to long battles with illness, the fate of each actor is a story of struggle and loss. In this video, we delve deep into the tragic stories of the MASH cast, how they lived, how they passed, and the lasting legacy they left behind. Join us as we honor their memories and reflect on the untold stories of the talented individuals who brought these unforgettable characters to life. Kelly Nakahara's role as Lieutenant Kelly Yamato, RN, in MASH showcased her as a nurse with a caring nature and sharp wit, often providing a sense of stability amidst the chaos of war. Born on January 16, 1948, Nakahara was just 25 years old when she began her journey with the series in 1973. Her character was a quiet but strong presence in the 4077th, often supporting her fellow staff members with her practical wisdom and humor. However, Nakahara's personal life was marked by its own struggles. While she was beloved on screen, her career after MASH never reached the same heights. She was married to David W. Nakahara, a man she shared a deep love with, but their relationship was often tested by the challenges of Hollywood life. The couple had 2 children, but Nakahara struggled with balancing her family life and career, and the pressure of the entertainment industry sometimes took a toll. The most significant tragedy in Nakahara's life came when she was diagnosed with cancer. Despite her best efforts to fight the disease, it took a toll on her health. On February 16, 2020, at the age of 72, she passed away from cancer, leaving a hole in the hearts of her fans and peers who had grown to love her for the warmth and sincerity she brought to her roles. Larry Lynville, born September 29, 1939, portrayed Major Frank Burns in MASH, 1972 to 1977, a character brimming with self-righteousness, fragility, and blind hypocrisy. The character's ineptitude and bigotry were often met with the scorn of fellow characters, yet Lynville imbued him with a tragic complexity. At 33, Lynville joined the show and became a beloved antagonist to the show's central protagonists. Off-screen, Lynville's life was marred by personal tumult. Twice married, his relationships were fraught with difficulties. His first marriage to Susan Barnett ended in divorce, and his second marriage to Deborah Geyer was no more stable, ending in another painful separation. Lynville struggled with the pressures of fame, and his career never quite recovered after his MASH tenure. He tried his hand at various roles, but nothing seemed to bring him the same satisfaction or acclaim. The man who had played the villain with such flair found himself battling loneliness and regret. On April 10, 2000, after a long struggle with health issues, Lynville succumbed to pneumonia at 60, leaving behind a legacy of bitterness and unrealized dreams. William Christopher's portrayal of Father Francis Mulcahy in MASH was unforgettable. He brought to life the gentle, wise, and compassionate chaplain who often provided comfort amidst the chaos of war. Born on October 20, 1932, Christopher was 40 years old when he joined the show in 1972. His character was a steady presence, offering spiritual guidance, humor, and empathy to the soldiers around him. But behind his calm demeanor, Christopher's life was filled with personal challenges. He had a quiet career in acting before landing his role in MASH, but it was this part that truly brought him recognition. Despite his success on television, Christopher's life was not without heartbreak. His marriage to Barbara Christopher, whom he wed in 1957, faced years of struggles, as he often felt torn between family life and his demanding acting career. His personal life was deeply impacted by his struggles with the industry's fickle nature, leading to moments of self-doubt. However, the true tragedy of Christopher's life came in the form of his son's battle with addiction, which placed a heavy burden on their family. The heartache continued as Christopher, who had always kept a low profile, was diagnosed with cancer in 2016. On December 31st of that year, he passed away at the age of 84. David Ogden Styers, born on October 31, 1942, brought to life the character of Major Charles Winchester in MASH, 1977–1983. A man of towering intellect and surgical skill, Winchester was a pompous figure, always projecting superiority but hiding insecurities behind his refined facade. Styers, joining the series at 35, infused the role with a complexity that made the character both frustrating and endearing. However, Styers' personal life mirrored the struggles of the characters he portrayed. He never married, though he openly spoke of his yearning for love and the void that remained throughout his life. His career, marked by early triumphs in theater and voice acting, later saw him facing difficult transitions, particularly in television roles post-MASH. Despite critical acclaim for his voice work, Styers battled against a fading public image. In his later years, he became deeply involved with the arts, but the loss of recognition took a toll. Styers' health deteriorated in his final years, and March 3, 2018, after a brave battle with bladder cancer, he passed away at 75. His death was quiet, a final chapter to a life filled with unspoken longings. Harry Morgan's portrayal of Colonel Sherman T. Potter was that of a strong, authoritative, and caring officer who served as a stabilizing force on the chaotic set of MASH. Born on April 10, 1915, Morgan was 59 years old when he joined the show in 1974, taking over from McLean Stevenson as the commanding officer. Morgan's career had already spanned decades, but his role as Colonel Potter, a character full of humor and wisdom, made him a beloved figure in television. His personal life, however, was far more complicated. Morgan had 2 marriages in his life. His first, to Eileen Dechon, whom he married in 1940, ended in a difficult divorce. He later married Barbara Bushman in 1986, a union that lasted until his death. Despite his professional success, Morgan struggled with the pressures of his personal life, including financial hardships and the difficulty of balancing family life with his demanding career. Yet, it was his unwavering commitment to acting that sustained him through many dark times. Morgan's health began to decline in his later years, and on December 7, 2011, at the age of 96, he passed away from pneumonia. McLean Stevenson, born on November 14, 1927, portrayed Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake in MASH, 1972–1975. Henry Blake, a well-meaning but often bumbling and ineffective leader, was beloved by his subordinates for his kindness and sense of humor. Stevenson, at 44 when he joined the show, brought warmth and vulnerability to the character, making Blake a source of both laughter and sympathy. However, Stevenson's personal life was marked by struggles and disappointments. He had been married twice, first to his college sweetheart, with whom he had 2 children, and then to another woman after their divorce. Despite his charm and comedic talent, Stevenson's career faltered after he left MASH, trying and failing to find success in other television roles. His attempts to replicate the magic of Blake with new characters were unsuccessful, and he slowly faded from the limelight. Tragically, Stevenson's life came to a premature end. At the age of 68, he suffered a heart attack, and on February 15, 1996, he passed away. His death was a quiet end to a man who had struggled for years with career setbacks, a failing marriage, and the overwhelming burden of unfulfilled potential. Wayne Rogers, born on April 7, 1933, brought the character of Captain Trapper John McIntyre to life in MASH, 1972–1975, a charming, witty, and talented surgeon whose carefree attitude and mischievous humor hid a deep well of pain. Rogers, at 39 when he joined the cast, brought a sense of warmth to the series that balanced the chaos of war with moments of levity. But like Trapper John, Rogers' life was far from carefree. His personal relationships were fraught with difficulties, and his 2 marriages were short-lived. His first marriage to actress Josephine was filled with infidelity and emotional strain, ending in divorce. His second marriage, to the woman he claimed to be his true love, failed to provide the solace he sought. Rogers' career suffered after his departure from MASH, with him finding less success in Hollywood than he had hoped. He turned to business ventures, but the pressure to maintain his public image weighed heavily on him. In his later years, Rogers became more reclusive, retreating from the public eye as he struggled with the mounting health issues that marked his final years. On December 31, 2015, he passed away at 82. Judy Farrell, born on May 11, 1938, was 38 when she joined the cast of MASH in 1976, playing the role of Nurse Abel. Her character was a kind-hearted, devoted nurse with a touch of humor, a role that captured the gentle but resilient spirit of the medical staff during the Korean War. However, Farrell's life off-screen was far from the calm, cheerful demeanor she portrayed on television. Married to actor Mike Farrell, who played B.J. Honeycutt on MASH, their marriage was initially filled with promise but eventually unraveled as their careers and lives pulled them in different directions. They divorced after a long, painful separation, leaving Judy to raise their two children, Michael and Aaron, on her own. Despite her professional successes, she struggled with the pressures of being a single mother and a woman in an industry that often sidelined her. She also faced personal battles with loneliness and regret, which dimmed the bright light that shone on her in her youth. Her later years were marked by health challenges, and on April 2, 2023, at the age of 84, Judy passed away following complications from a stroke. Linda McLean, born on August 9, 1943, played Lieutenant Leslie Scorch, a caring, humorous, and dedicated nurse in MASH. Scorch's character was defined by her loyalty and warmth, always striving to help those around her, often while keeping her own struggles hidden beneath a veneer of strength. McLean joined the show in 1972 at the age of 29, bringing a sense of compassion to the chaos of the Korean War portrayed in the series. While she was well regarded for her role, her career never reached the heights of some of her co-stars. In fact, McLean's personal life was often fraught with challenges. She was married twice, but both unions ended in divorce, and she never had children. The pain of her failed marriages haunted her for years, as did the loss of several close family members. Despite her emotional scars, McLean remained a warm and inviting figure to those who worked with her. In her later years, she battled with cancer, a cruel fate for someone who had spent much of her life caring for others. Linda McLean passed away on July 3, 2017, at the age of 75, succumbing to cancer after a long and difficult battle. Marsha Strassman, born on April 28, 1948, was 24 when she joined MASH in 1972, playing Nurse Margie Cutler. Margie was a compassionate and humorous nurse, always offering care and comfort to the soldiers and staff alike. Strassman's personal life, however, was fraught with challenges. Married to actor Richard M. Cohen, their union was marked by highs and lows, though the couple eventually parted ways. Strassman and Cohen had 2 children together, though the marriage was never as fulfilling as she had hoped. Throughout her life, Strassman struggled with feelings of isolation and the difficulty of maintaining a balance between her career and family life. Her health took a sharp turn for the worse when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, a battle that she fought with determination. However, the disease ultimately won. Marsha Strassman passed away on October 24, 2014, at the age of 66, after years of suffering from the illness. Her passing marked the end of a woman whose kindness and humor had brightened many lives, but whose own life had been marred by deep personal and health struggles. Johnny Hamer, born January 19, 1920, brought to life Sergeant Zelmo Zale, the tough and witty supply sergeant in MASH. Zale was known for his no-nonsense attitude and dry humor, characteristics that resonated with Hamer's own life off-screen. Joining the show in 1974 at 54, Hamer's career was shaped by constant struggle and missed opportunities. Although he had a steady presence on television, his fame never reached the heights of some of his co-stars. His personal life mirrored the battles he faced professionally. His marriage to actress Marilyn Hamer was filled with strife, and they eventually divorced. The couple had no children, but Hamer's grief over the loss of his parents and the strain of a failed marriage weighed heavily on him. His health began to decline after years of emotional and physical tolls, and his career never quite reached its potential. Despite his best efforts, he was often relegated to minor roles, an artist struggling in a world that never gave him the credit he deserved. Johnny passed away on November 18, 1989, at the age of 69 from heart failure, his death marking the end of a tumultuous journey filled with dreams unfulfilled and a personal life that never found peace. G. Wood, born on December 31, 1919, played Brigadier General Charlie Hammond in MASH. A man of authority and discipline, Hammond was a tough, no-nonsense figure who often clashed with the more laid-back, freewheeling characters in the series. When he joined the show in 1972 at the age of 52, Wood had already seen many highs and lows in his career, but he was still struggling to find the type of recognition that would make him a household name. Throughout his career, he was relegated mostly to supporting roles, and while he gained a reputation for his distinctive voice and presence, he never achieved the stardom he had hoped for. His personal life was filled with heartache, with a marriage that dissolved in the early 1960s, leaving him to raise his children alone. The pressure of being both a father and an actor took its toll, especially as his career stagnated in the years leading up to MASH. Despite finding stability in the role of General Hammond, the late years of his life were plagued with health problems, including heart failure. His final years were marked by a quiet solitude, far removed from the limelight. G. Wood passed away on July 24, 2000, at the age of 80 from heart failure. Richard Lee Sung, born on August 14, 1930, played second Korean Kim Luke in MASH, a role that showcased his charm, humor, and resourcefulness. Kim Luke was a servant in the camp, always ready to engage with the chaos of war through wit and ingenuity, a character that provided both comic relief and moments of warmth. Lee Sung joined the series in 1974 at the age of 44, bringing his character to life with a sense of humor that resonated with audiences. Outside of his acting career, Lee Sung struggled with the hardships of being a minority in a predominantly white industry. His personal life was marked by the loss of family members and the emotional toll of balancing his heritage with his career. He was married once but never had children, a choice perhaps shaped by the instability in his professional and personal life. Lee Sung's career was often overlooked, as he struggled to break free from typecasting. However, his role in MASH remained a rare moment of recognition. In his later years, Lee Sung faced health issues and growing isolation. He passed away on August 16, 2021, at the age of 91, due to natural causes. Edward Winter, born June 3, 1937, joined MASH in 1973 at the age of 36, playing the role of Colonel Samuel Flagg, an eccentric, paranoid, and hilariously over-the-top intelligence officer. Winter's portrayal of Flagg, whose antics and irrational behavior contrasted sharply with the more grounded characters around him, was a standout in the series. Off-screen, however, Winter's life was far more troubled. His early career was marked by promising roles, but as time passed, he found himself struggling with personal demons, including a growing battle with alcohol addiction. His marriage to actress Barbara Anderson ended in divorce, a painful experience that left him heartbroken. Despite a second marriage, his personal life never truly healed, and the pressures of his health struggles compounded his isolation. In the late 1980s, Winter's health began to deteriorate, and on March 8, 2001, at the age of 63, he passed away due to complications from Parkinson's disease. His death marked the end of a talented, yet turbulent life, one filled with unrealized potential and personal strife that echoed the tragicomic nature of the characters he portrayed. Alan Arbus, born on February 15, 1918, played Major Sidney Friedman in MASH, 1973–1983, a wise and compassionate psychiatrist who often served as a calming presence amid the chaos of the Korean War. Arbus, at 55, joined the show with a deep understanding of the human psyche, and his character became an anchor for the emotionally wounded soldiers. Off-screen, Arbus' life was filled with more turbulence than his character's composed demeanor would suggest. He had been married to photographer Diane Arbus, whose tragic death by suicide in 1971 left Alan devastated. The loss marked the beginning of a long period of emotional turmoil for him. Despite his fame in MASH, Arbus struggled to find meaningful work in the years that followed, his career stalling in the face of an industry that no longer seemed to have a place for him. His personal pain deepened with the dissolution of his second marriage, and his remaining years were marked by a sense of quiet resignation. After living through the trauma of losing his first wife and facing the challenges of aging and fading relevance, Arbus passed away at the age of 95 on April 19, 2013, from congestive heart failure. John Orchard, born on November 15, 1928, played the charismatic and skilled anesthesiologist, Captain Ugly John Black, in MASH. Black was a character full of wit, always ready with a joke, yet capable of moments of depth and reflection. Orchard, who joined the series in 1972 at the age of 43, found some fame with his portrayal, but his life beyond the show was one of constant struggle. While he was a competent actor, his career never fully soared. He faced multiple disappointments, being relegated to supporting roles rather than starring ones. His marriage to a fellow actress was short-lived, filled with the pressures of Hollywood's relentless demands. Orchard's personal life, marked by emotional turmoil and his inability to find lasting happiness, mirrored the often lonely and fragmented lives of his characters. Despite his attempts to find peace through a second marriage, his life remained riddled with sorrow. In 1995, Orchard was diagnosed with leukemia, a tragic irony for a man who had spent his life portraying characters who were skilled at keeping people alive. On November 3, 1995, at the age of 66, he passed away, leaving behind a legacy of performances that hinted at the depth of his own unspoken struggles. Herb Voland, born October 2, 1918, was 54 when he took on the role of General Crandall Clayton in MASH in 1972. Clayton was a strong-willed, authoritative figure whose dry humor and no-nonsense attitude provided a stark contrast to the chaos around him. Voland's career had spanned several decades, with roles in both film and television, but his personal life was fraught with difficulties. His marriage to actress Patricia Decker was strained, and their separation was followed by years of bitterness. The toll this took on Voland was immense, and he found solace in his work, though it never fully filled the emptiness he felt. In the years following his departure from MASH, he struggled to regain his footing in a changing industry that no longer seemed to have a place for him. Voland's health began to decline, and on April 26, 1981, just 9 years after his MASH debut, he passed away from a stroke at the age of 62. His death, like his life, was a quiet, unremarkable end to a man who had once commanded attention on screen but had ultimately faced a series of personal failures and regrets that left him a shadow of the powerful general he had played. Timothy Brown, born on May 24, 1937, played Captain Oliver Harmon Spearchucker Jones in MASH at the age of 35. A skilled surgeon with a quick wit and a smooth sense of humor, Captain Jones became one of the beloved characters of the series. Brown's portrayal captured a vibrant personality, yet his life was far from the cheerful nature of his character. His career, though marked by early success, faced several setbacks, as he struggled to transition from television to film and beyond. His marriage to actress Shirley Brown ended in divorce, a painful experience that left him emotionally scarred. The pair had 2 children, but the strain of their personal and professional lives eventually led to their separation. Brown's later years were clouded by dementia, which robbed him of the sharp mind that had made him a star. As his health deteriorated, he withdrew from the public eye, leaving behind a career that never quite fulfilled its promise. Timothy Brown passed away on April 4, 2020, at the age of 82, due to complications from dementia. His death was a quiet and somber end to a life that had once shone brightly in the spotlight but had been dimmed by personal struggles and an untimely decline. Soon Taek-oh, born on June 29, 1932, played Dr. Sin Paik, a wise and compassionate physician in MASH at the age of 43. Dr. Paik was a calm presence in the chaotic environment of the Korean War, offering both medical expertise and emotional support to those around him. Off-screen, however, Oh's life was filled with sorrow. His early career had been shaped by racial struggles, as he fought against typecasting and limited roles for Asian actors. His first marriage to actress Gloria Oh ended in divorce, a split that left him heartbroken and scarred. Despite remarrying, he continued to face the pressures of being a minority in Hollywood, and his career never reached the heights he desired. In his later years, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, a cruel fate that slowly took away the memory of the man he once was. Soon Taek-oh passed away on April 4, 2018, at the age of 85, due to complications from Alzheimer's disease. His passing was a deeply sad event, a quiet end for a man who had been a silent yet powerful force in the industry, yet whose later years were overshadowed by the ravages of memory loss and illness. Robert F. Simon, born on December 2, 1908, portrayed the no-nonsense General Maynard M. Mitchell in MASH. A man of authority and humor, he brought depth to his character, balancing the tough exterior with an occasional, softer side. Simon was 64 when he joined the cast in 1973, already an experienced actor. His career, spanning decades, was often filled with the frustration of being typecast into roles of authority, with little room for the range he craved. His personal life also mirrored the complexities of his professional one. Married twice, his first wife passed away after a long marriage, and his second marriage ended in divorce. The sting of personal loss seemed to shadow him, and though he had children, they could not provide the solace he sought. His later years were marked by the pain of loneliness, exacerbated by health issues. At the age of 83, Simon suffered a heart attack and passed away on November 29, 1992. His death was a quiet one, and though he was surrounded by family, the weight of his life's trials seemed to linger in the air. Mako, born on December 10, 1933, was a talented actor who became known for his portrayal of Dr. Lin Tam in MASH. Dr. Tam was a quiet yet brilliant surgeon, offering a calm and wise presence amidst the chaos of the Korean War. Mako joined the cast in 1974, at the age of 40, bringing a deep sincerity to the character. His career, however, was not without its struggles. Although he earned accolades for his performances in both television and film, his path was often marked by the challenges of being an Asian American actor in Hollywood, often pigeonholed into stereotypical roles. His personal life was no less turbulent. Married twice, he faced the heartbreaking collapse of both unions, leaving him with a profound sense of loss. His first marriage ended in divorce, followed by a second marriage that also succumbed to the pressures of his demanding career. He had no children, leaving him to navigate the world without the comfort of familial connections. The harsh realities of aging and cancer took their toll on Mako. On July 21, 2006, at the age of 72, he passed away after a painful battle with esophageal cancer, leaving behind a legacy of strength, compassion, and an unspoken sadness that echoed through his final years. Johnny Yoon, born on October 22, 1936, played the Korean translator in MASH, a character full of humor and wit, which brought a lightness to the otherwise heavy atmosphere of the show. His character served as a bridge between the soldiers and the local population, offering both levity and insight. Johnny was 40 years old when he joined the show in 1976. His career, however, never reached the heights it might have. His opportunities were often limited by his ethnicity, and he struggled to break free from comedic roles that pigeonholed him as the funny foreigner. His personal life was equally challenging. Yoon married twice, but neither relationship lasted. His first marriage ended in divorce, followed by a second failed attempt at love. The absence of children left a void in his life, as did the disappointments in his professional journey. Despite his resilience, Johnny faced financial difficulties, and as the years passed, the joy of his early career faded. His health, too, began to deteriorate, and on March 8, 2020, at the age of 83, he passed away from natural causes, a quiet ending to a life that had seen its fair share of struggles. Yuki Shimoda, born on August 10, 1921, played Cho Pak in MASH. Cho Pak was a charming and resourceful character, one of the few faces that brought lightness and humor to the otherwise serious tone of the series. Shimoda, at the age of 58, joined the show in 1979, bringing his years of experience in theater and film to the role. Despite his talent, Shimoda struggled to find consistent work in Hollywood, often limited to roles that didn't match his full range. He had faced discrimination as a Japanese-American actor, often being relegated to stereotypical roles. In his personal life, Shimoda experienced the pain of a failed marriage. He had once been in love with a woman who, after a passionate courtship, left him for another man, leaving him heartbroken. His inability to move past that relationship haunted him for years, preventing him from finding lasting happiness in love. Shimoda's health began to deteriorate rapidly in the early 1980s, and in 1981, at the age of 59, he succumbed to cancer. His death on May 21, 1981, was a tragic end to a man who had never quite found peace in either his career or his personal life. John Fujioka, born on June 29, 1925, played Colonel Kim in MASH, a role that showcased his ability to embody authority in discipline. As Colonel Kim, Fujioka was both stern and charismatic, yet his character's command of respect never truly concealed the underlying vulnerability. Fujioka, who joined MASH in 1975 at the age of 50, had already made a name for himself in the industry with roles in various television shows and films. However, despite his talents, Fujioka found himself often typecast in roles that emphasized his Asian heritage. His personal life was marked by emotional turbulence, notably a rocky marriage that ended in divorce. The pain of this failed marriage lingered, but Fujioka found solace in his work. Yet, the constant pressures of Hollywood and the realization that he would never be cast in leading roles weighed heavily on him. As he grew older, Fujioka's life remained a mixture of professional satisfaction and personal regret. He lived to a remarkable age of 93 but passed away peacefully on December 13, 2018, due to natural causes. Despite the passing of years, his legacy as Colonel Kim lived on, a reminder of the quiet strength he brought to the screen. Dick ONeal, born on August 29, 1928, brought Admiral Cox to life in MASH. The role of Cox was one of stern authority, a man whose naval background gave him the gravitas to command attention, yet he was never beyond reproach, often engaging in tense but necessary confrontations. ONeal, joining the series in 1977 at age 49, had spent many years working in television and film, but it was his role in MASH that solidified his place in the hearts of fans. Despite this, his career was far from smooth. He faced a string of failed projects, including an ill-fated attempt to launch a Broadway play that collapsed before it even gained traction. In his personal life, ONeal's early marriage ended in bitter divorce, and he struggled with the loss of his only child, a daughter, who tragically passed away from illness. His romantic life remained a series of broken promises, and he was often left to pick up the pieces. The specter of failure loomed over him, not just in his professional life but in his attempts to rebuild family ties. In his later years, ONeal was consumed by health problems, including heart issues, which eventually led to his death. On November 17, 1998, at the age of 70, Dick ONeal passed away from heart failure. Kai Luke, born on June 18, 1904, portrayed Cho Kim in MASH. Cho Kim was a character who blended wisdom with humor, always offering a sense of calm in the midst of the chaos surrounding him. Luke, who had spent decades in navigating the racial stereotypes of Hollywood, joined the show in 1978 at the age of 74, having already faced years of hardship in his career. Despite his immense talent, he had often been relegated to roles that played on his Asian heritage, which took a toll on his sense of self-worth. His personal life wasn't any less troubled. Luke had married once, but the marriage was short-lived, ending in divorce after several years of emotional strain. He also experienced the pain of losing a child early in life, a heartbreak that never quite healed. Luke's later years were marked by a sense of melancholy, as the industry he had worked in so tirelessly seemed to forget him as he grew older. His health began to fail him as he grew into his 80s, and in 1991, at the age of 86, he suffered a stroke that took his life on January 12. Though he had found a semblance of peace in his later roles, his passing felt like the closing of a chapter for a man who had never quite found the full recognition he deserved. Hamilton Camp, born on October 30, 1934, portrayed Corporal Boots Miller in MASH. Miller was a tough yet humorous character, whose dedication to his comrades and quick wit made him a beloved figure. Camp, who joined the series in 1976 at the age of 42, brought a certain grit and resilience to the role, characteristics that mirrored his own turbulent career. Despite his talents, Camp never quite reached the heights of fame that others in the industry did. His career saw many ups and downs, often battling against typecasting and struggling to find roles that showcased his full range as an actor. In his personal life, Camp had been married twice, each relationship ending in divorce. His first marriage produced 2 children, but the constant stress from his professional struggles created distance in his family life. The unraveling of his marriages was just one of the many wounds that camp carried with him. Later, a deep sense of loneliness settled over him as he grew older, compounded by a long battle with depression. On October 2, 2005, at the age of 70, Camp's heart gave out due to a heart attack, an unfortunate end for a man whose life had been a constant fight for recognition. Val B Soo, born on May 7, 1926, played the role of Sergeant Pernelli in MASH in 1981 at the age of 55. His character was a hard-working, tough, and humorous soldier, a man who had seen enough of war to maintain his sharp wit even in the darkest of times. B Soo, who had spent most of his career in supporting roles, found his niche in playing blue-collar, tough characters that were instantly recognizable. His career, however, was marked by more struggles than triumphs. His first marriage ended in a bitter divorce after years of emotional distance, and his second marriage, while more successful, was marred by constant conflict stemming from his often volatile temperament. In the 1970s, B Soo experienced the disillusionment that came with trying to break out of typecasting, feeling as though Hollywood had forgotten about him. His personal life, much like his career, was often filled with personal crises, financial troubles, family estrangements, and the haunting memories of relationships that fell apart. Despite these challenges, B Soo found solace in his work, eventually achieving peace and recognition late in his life. At the age of 95, Val B Soo passed away on October 18, 2021, from natural causes. Philippon, born on March 29, 1905, brought the character of the Korean grandfather to life in MASH. A figure of wisdom and warmth, the Korean grandfather offered comforting words to those around him, providing much-needed counsel in a war-torn world. Ahn, who had spent decades building a career in Hollywood, joined the show in 1976, when he was already 71 years old. His role in MASH marked one of his last appearances on the big screen, after years of playing supporting roles that often portrayed Asian characters in a stereotypical light. Ahn had struggled with being typecast, despite his impressive skills and the depth he brought to his roles. Outside of acting, his personal life was marked by tragedies, including the death of his beloved wife, which left him emotionally shattered. The pain of losing her never fully left him, and it seemed to haunt his later years. After a routine surgery in 1978, Ahn's health quickly deteriorated, and he passed away on February 28, 1978, at the age of 72. His death was attributed to complications from the procedure, and it felt like the closing of a chapter for an actor who had persevered through much adversity. What are your thoughts on the loss of the beloved actors from MASH? Which of them do you miss the most? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to stay updated with our newest videos.